All right, let's get started. 30 minutes, no time to waste. Welcome, Claris Studio Custom Views. My name is Joris Aarts. I'm from ClickWorks. And because I have only 30 minutes, what I'm going to do is show you all, show, don't tell, a live demo. What can go wrong, right? We tell all our speakers, don't do live demos, record videos, etc. But that's for FileMaker demos. This is Claris Studio, right? All right? So you see, I'm very confident, okay? So I'm going to start right away. I'm already logged in Claris Studio. This is an overview of the different hubs. And I'm going to skip the basics, hubs and views. I assume that you already have an idea what it is. And I'm going to focus on the custom part and also what has been released recently, frames and subviews, because that might be a bit confusing, all right? And the use case is very simple, something you all know, projects and tasks. So I'm going to open this project spreadsheet view, 3 projects, and I have related tasks. And each task is linked to only one project. So a simple one-to-many use case, and we would use a portal in FileMaker to display that data. All right? Going back to the hub, adding a view to the hub. And you see you have all these standard views that are there for a long time already, but those are limited to one source, one table only. You can have a spreadsheet based on a table, a Kanban board, and so on. The more complicated one is the list detail, which is actually very useful, where you have a data control on the left, a navigation pane on the left, so to say, and then a detail to the right. Don't underestimate these views, because as Marcelo has already shown to us, you can do very clever show hide tricks, read-only tricks, and so on. So don't underestimate these forms, list detail, and so on. But we're going to focus on custom. I'm going to call this, let's say, EngageU demo 1, just the first start. And I need to pick a base table. I can change it later, so I have my tasks and my projects. And as you can see, I use some kind of naming convention, a prefix TB, indicating that these are tables. All right? Let's start with projects. And this is what you get when you create a custom view. You get a blank canvas. I like that a lot. It gives me, like, I feel in control. Like I can do whatever I want. Except for one little thing, there's a toolbar on top. So I get one object for free, a toolbar. Personally, I don't like it that much, and I was hoping that Robert or Louis will be in the room to get that feedback again from me. I don't like getting things for free and then having to throw them away, but okay, what I want to do is put you FileMaker developers at ease. Like, I'm at home, there's a toolbar, all right? But a toolbar, it's so 2010 or something, right? It's a bit backdated, but why not? We have a toolbar, and there's a good thing to it, because I can immediately, you see, it's based on the table projects, and I can immediately start adding objects to it, and I got access to all fields or objects from my projects table. So I have like the project name, project owner. See, there are different kinds of fields in Studio than you have in FileMaker, like this rating field, for instance, like opportunity score for a project. I can have like an executive summary, project briefing, something like that. And the good thing is, this will work out of the box. So I'm previewing it now in desktop mode. Studio is all about responsiveness, web design, so I can preview it in desktop mode or mobile mode. That's the advantage. That's the main difference with WebDirect and FileMaker. Those layouts are dynamic. Those views, sorry, are dynamic. And this is working. I have a toolbar. I have 3 projects, and I can browse through those projects. I can even add, delete records, and filter and sort them. This is what I get for free. No quick search yet in this object, which is a bit strange, but I hope this is coming in the future. So this gives you an idea. Claris wants you to feel at home and start building layouts straight away. But this looks very much like a FileMaker layout, so why use Claris Studio for this? Huh? Okay. Let's go one step further. Maybe you notice that strange formula on the right side over there. And maybe you are wondering, what is that strange formula? Why is it there? Well, it comes with a toolbar. And you see toolbar in it. Let's zoom in on it a little bit. I can click on the formula editor, which in this iteration is a bit basic, but they promised us yesterday that they are working on it and we'll get a more enhanced formula editor. Okay. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, probably. And this looks very, very, very complicated, but maybe you get the idea. It's referring to a subview. It's referring to that toolbar and the selected record from that toolbar. And that's what's driving my view, so to say. So if I go back and I click cancel, my view or my subview, basically, because when I created the view, I now get immediately a so-called subview with it for free. It is based on the projects table, and the record data is based on the selection in the toolbar. That's what's happening. So the good thing is we immediately get like the most complicated thing straight in our face with that free toolbar. Nice. But it is not so complicated. Let's go back again. Here we are again. I'm going to throw all this away. Now what? How to start? This is a blank formula editor. Well, the trick is, and write that down, this is the most important thing to know in Claris Studio, you just type this, like literally this. So this. I learned this only a couple of weeks ago, Remco, I think, thanks, I don't know. But you just type this. And then you have the option, this table or this view. Now we're dealing with navigation controls and things on the view, so I'm going to refer to this view, which is automatically substituted with the name of the subview. That's one thing you need to know. You type this, and then the second thing to know is it is Java-based or JavaScript-based and object-oriented. So if you come from an object-oriented world, you know what to type next. Dot. Why? I don't know, but you do it. And now everything becomes easy, because you get access to all the objects on this view, which are those fields and the status toolbar. And then you just press Enter, and you type again a dot. Thank you. You get access to all the properties of the toolbar. There's only one, selected item. I told you it's a stupid thing. You type a dot again. And then there are two interesting properties. The first one is obvious, or the second one, let's say, the record ID. That's the pointer towards the selected record. But the other one is quite powerful as well. You can, via an object, have access to all the data from the underlying table. That's also a trick we often use in more elaborated custom formulas. See, Remco like, yeah, that's what we do nowadays. But OK, for now, let's focus on the record ID. And this is what will be driving our view. The toolbar is telling our view which record to display. That's what's happening in this formula, okay? And the other objects, those fields that I dragged onto it, automatically came with a default option selected, inherit record data. So those objects are, so to say, slaved, can I say that? Slaved to the view? No, not a good word. Paired, thank you, paired to the view. They inherit the same settings. So what happens, I clicked on the object. If I click back in the white space, then the frame is selected again. You notice the blue border. So the frame is driven by that toolbar, and all objects inherit that selection. Nice, isn't it? Except that there's a lot more flexibility in Studio. So far, it looked like a FileMaker layout, more or less, and the same principles as FileMaker. But in Studio, you can literally have 3, 4, 5 toolbars on one view and tie 3 objects to that toolbar, 4 objects to that toolbar, and so on. You have a lot more flexibility. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of showing you all the different permutations that exist. I want to do something fancier with you. But you can, for instance, select this one control. And there are other options. You can choose data control. And there's only one data control. So you can tie this field or hook this field directly to that toolbar. Not inheriting, but just looking at that toolbar. I don't like it that much, because then you're doing it field by field, where I like to have like a canvas and then everything on that canvas follows along. But you can do it. So you could have a second toolbar and have objects listening to another toolbar. And there's even one setting more. You have inherit data control, and then again from calculation. So just like the view, each individual object can also have its own calculated rules for what to display, which gives you enormous freedom, right? And I like freedom. So coming from Studio, going back to FileMaker feels like being like no freedom. But OK. From calculations, which calculation do we need? What do we type? Thank you. And then, yeah. So I'm basically doing exactly the same as before. Just to make my point, that this works. So now one field is following the view settings, the other field is pointing directly towards the toolbar, and the third field is using a formula to look at that same toolbar. Why? I don't know. I don't know. There are now 3 options to do more or less the same thing. Inherit and the formula, I understand. That data control, that's probably something that will become much better in the future and that they are working on. That's a bit the thing with Studio. It's evolving constantly and faster than FileMaker. So like every month we get something new, and some concepts are already there and will become better over time. So that's why Studio might be a bit confusing as well. OK, 12 minutes into this, let's do something nice. So these were the basic principles, OK? Let's now build something fancy. And I prepared this. So this is what we're going to build. We're going to use frames. We're going to build a real dashboard. And we're going to use that flexibility that Studio offers to swap views within a frame. It was already demoed by Robert yesterday. So this is my navigation bar. I have those same 3 projects. I see project details, and I can swap to tasks. And now I see related tasks for the project. So there are 3 frames. There are in each frame 1 subview, and the right subview is like following along with what I'm doing in the left subview. And that's what I would like to build step by step. Just think for a while. I'm going to use Marcelo's trick. Just think for a while how much time it will take you to build this in FileMaker. You will need relationships, table occurrences, fields, foreign key, primary key, tie them together. You would need a portal and another portal, and then still you will end up with a result that cannot do this. Right? So these web-based controls in Studio come with so many options and so much power that I really like it. OK, let's do this. What can go wrong? We have 16 minutes left. So we are literally going to build this in 16 minutes, whereas in FileMaker it will take you half a day, something like that. Start again. Custom view. EngageU, demo, dashboard. I'm going to start with projects again. Blank canvas with free toolbar. I don't want a toolbar. I just click the toolbar and I delete it. And now I'm stuck with a view and a formula that's still there. And it starts throwing errors because I deleted my toolbar. Thank you, Claris. But okay, no matter, I'm going to just throw this away, put it to none, for instance. And I want to focus on a couple of things, on the view settings here in the top right corner. And I'm going to give myself a little bit more room, choose for a large view, perfect. I have 4 colors to choose from. Isn't that great? And I have frame settings, and this is new since end of October. All right? This existed for a long time in testing, but finally it's in production. And this allows you several layouts, which resemble much like a website. Okay? For now, you only have these options, but in the future you will have much more flexibility of adding extra frames, locking them, resizing them or not, and so on. I'm going to go with the most complicated one, header left, right. I'm going to reduce my header a bit, use this for navigation. There we go. I'm going to add a text block, put a title, choose a style, like a heading font or something. Okay. What I'm getting now is 3 frames, and the frames, you see them in blue, are named top frame, left frame, and right frame. And although you can rename them, there's not much interest in doing so, but you can if you want. But what really matters are the views. And so I have something called subview 14 over here and subview 15, and then this is automatically copied from the general view name, but it's are in reality subviews. So you get 3 subviews, 1 subview for each frame. I recommend using some naming convention because your future self will thank you for it. I'm going to click this one, rename it. This is a bit awkward, but and I suggest, for instance, SV for subview. What do I want to do over there? I want a project navbar or something like that. So I use the same kind of 3-letter codes we use in FileMaker, Pro for projects, TSK for tasks. So this will be my navigation bar. This subview will display, live demo. Project details, Okay. So I'm doing a little bit of preparation. Which will make my life much easier in a minute, okay? 13 minutes left, why not? Let's start with the navigation bar. I can click this button or this button, it's all the same. And I'm going to use the so-called data controls. Data, I always confuse. Both. Data. I'm going to use a card list for this one. And one of the things I love about Studio is you add an object and it's clever about it because it already picked a project name to display. How did it know? It guessed somehow. Is there AI involved? No, you can define preferred fields and those preferred fields are used automatically. But it does a pretty good job at actually guessing somehow which is an interesting field to display in that card view. So that's something great. It's displaying my projects already, and it comes with a ton of options like, oh, you want quick search? You got it. You want filtering, sorting, you want to edit records? You want to configure the edit record dialog? You get a card window for free. You can specify the order in which to display the fields. You can omit certain fields you want to hide. All this is just configuration. You want to add projects? I can even rename the button and call it, for instance, New Project. Allow deleting, allow expanding. So just by adding this one control, I get already so much for free, which will take me hours in FileMaker. So let's preview it. So I've got something much better than a toolbar now. This card list, and I can select projects. I can add new projects. expand the record. I get a cart window for free. I can edit it just like any regular records and so on. And it comes with a quick search, a working quick search. Building this in FileMaker will take scripting, a global field, and so on, and so on. Okay, 10 minutes left. Now I want to display project details in that other view to the right. You might ask, why in another view? Why not on the same view? Well, hold on. Okay. What's set up? Oh, not available. Okay, what happened? Gonna select the subview. Oh my God, I messed up. Okay, I messed up. This should be, sorry, project navbar. And this should be project details. All right. You see how flexible this is. I can just swap views, subviews within a frame, so I can mess up and recover, hopefully. OK. This is going to display projects, but it has no data record data driver. And I'm going to use the same trick like we did with the toolbar, but now I'm going to try to point towards my data list to the left. Sorry. So I'm going to use calculation. And I'm going to type. No! Why not? That. Because I want to point to the other view. How can I point to that subview? SV. Yes. Because I use the naming convention. You all should. OK, now it becomes interesting. I'm pointing to that view to the left. I'm typing a dot. I get access to that list. Yeah, I didn't bother renaming the list, but I could have. And I get access to the selected row in that data control, and I get access to the record ID. Isn't that wonderful? Brilliant, right? And I can start adding objects, and does it work? Yes, it shows me fields from project, so project name, project owner, and so on, and so on, and so on. 8 minutes left. Let's try this. And it works. So we just created a view linked to a control in another view. Why would you do that into separate views? Because I can swap views in the frame, and I can have like these buttons on top to swap between project details and tasks. So let's do the same, but now display a list of related tasks in that same frame. Okay? I'm going to close this. And here comes the real power of Studio. I can add another subview. I can add as many subviews as I want. And I'm going to add a subview SV task lists. And I don't know if you noticed, but there's a strange thing going on. There's one box that's green. Confusingly enough, it's indicating that one is inactive. The other ones are gray, but those are active. That's why there's a check mark in it. Thanks, Claris. But no, just joking, of course. I can activate one or both. So I can do that in developer mode, but I can also use a button to swap between both views. OK, now to add related tasks to a project, there's a wonderful object, which is called the related items object. And currently, it is limited to 3 object types only. But from what I heard yesterday, they will add the Kanban boards and the other more advanced objects soon. So for now, I'm stuck for this demo with like a simple spreadsheet. But in the future, you will be able to display a Kanban board, a timeline, and so on. So this spreadsheet is now driven by the project, and I forgot one thing. No, yes, no. Just to recap. Yeah, I forgot one thing. Because I need to do the same trick and tell it to get project data from the other subview. So pointing back to my navigation bar, list control, selected row, record ID. Now it knows which projects I want to display to the right. And the spreadsheet shows the related tasks by using this optional related data field. This should work. Hold on. And of course, spreadsheet comes also with very powerful options like filtering, sorting, editing, creating. So you can, for instance, have a cart window to edit task details, and so on and so on. But I just want to make the point that I can display related tasks for a project. Is this working? Yes. Thank you. 5 minutes left. Let's put a cherry on the cake. And let's create a button in the top bar to switch between project details and tasks. It's JavaScript, people. No, it's not. I'm going to add a button with a simple action. Chip, 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 chip. There we go. Action. Show sub view in. This is new since a couple of weeks. That's basically all there is to it. I point to a target, which is one of the frames. And in the future, we will be able to add more frames and build even more complicated dashboards. I'm going to point to the right frame. And I can determine which subview to display. So I'm going to start with project details, for instance. I can label the button. Make it a bit less prominent. And now it's easy. I can just duplicate it. Call this one project tasks. And the only thing I need to change is pointing to the other subview task list. And the view that I pick in developer mode, it's the one that shows by default, of course. So it makes more sense maybe to pick this one, project details, as the first one. And when I'm running this now, I just created a dashboard allowing access to projects, project details, and tasks within 10 minutes. Thank you. So we have 2 minutes left for questions. Thank you very much. Yes, I'll repeat the question, just shout out.
Can you indicate which one of the buttons are active now?
Which one of the buttons are active now? Good question. No. Not that I can immediately answer right now.
It's possible.
It's possible with conditional thing, yeah. Yeah, by using a formula or something.
Yes, you can change the color of the button itself to a lighter shade, for instance. So that's possible. Okay. Yeah, it's possible that you can change the color, for instance, for project tasks, and then it has a state of being pressed or being active. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is fixed. This is not dynamic. And your question is to make it dynamic. I click on one button and it indicates no. So it's not behaving like a button bar in FileMaker. No. There are certain limitations for now. But yes, good suggestion. Another question?
Yes, Joris. Would you also be able to, in the view with the spreadsheet, to lower the spreadsheet a bit and show project details in that same view?
Of course, yes.
Okay. You can do that, huh?
Yes.
In 2 minutes.
30 seconds.
Sure. Yeah, because yes, valid point. I could as well just do this, for instance. Show the related tasks directly underneath. That's what you wanted? Yeah. Yeah, of course you can. But it was for the sake of the demo, swapping views, you understand. So this is working as well. So now I have both project detail and a portal, so to say, underneath. Yes?
The speed of the development doesn't really matter to me necessarily, but the customizability, how customizable are the objects display-wise?
Not.
Okay,
You
thanks.
just can tick or untick boxes, no access to the CSS, no JavaScript add-ons that you can create on your own. I'm also pleading for that, yes.
Thank you for your very good demonstration.
Thank you.
Learned a lot. There is a possibility to log in via an external authenticator to go into a view.
Yes.
Is that also possible for custom views, and then you will be shown only your records, your
Yes.
privilege too?
Yes. So
So
there
is-
are built-in tools to narrow down record sets to the user that's logged in and so on. So there's no difference for custom views or regular views.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Follows the same security rules. Yeah, I got one gentleman over there that was before you, but I'll come back to you. Yes?
The loading took quite some time for the front end. How many records do you have that the loading is so long?
The loading time here? Good point. There's not a lot of records, as you probably noticed, like not more than 50. But this is pretty fast, I would say. It's just switching from the initial loading, you mean? Yes, valid point. I'm not on the fastest Wi-Fi here, but this usually takes a while. The initial launch is, but once it is loaded, it's pretty fast. If you want, I can show you a more elaborate dashboard from the Claris Engage demo. So the initial loading is always a thing, but then it's pretty fast. And one of the cool things I like is that if you interact with one element, the chart updates. So this is what we're going to get in the future. This is ETS stuff, but this is where we are going to go, and I'm very excited about this. Yes?
The refresh rate, so suppose a task gets altered in FileMaker, will it show immediately, or is there
It depends. I did not cover the FileMaker data sources, which you can have. You can indeed have a table directly linked to a FileMaker table. And it updates behind the scenes. There are, of course, API calls going on, so there's a little delay, but it updates almost in real time. Yeah. So like you would expect from a web application. If you have a webhook, for instance, like a payment link, and the payment comes in, and then your invoice is set to paid, something like that, it takes a couple of seconds sometimes, yeah, depending. Other questions? All right. Thank you.